Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. Today we are going to be picking out a finish for the inside of our workshop. If you've been following along the last few weeks, you know that we have been milling our own shiplap siding for the inside of the workshop here. And now that it's been hung up for a week or two, we are going to pick out our finish. And starting from, let's see, your guys' left to right is going to be tung oil, boiled linseed oil, teak oil, Danish oil, and a clear polyurethane that we have in a satin finish. We're going to compare these, see what they look like, pick one out, and then start applying it to the walls in here. Let's just get started and jump right in. The first one we're going to try is going to be this Watco tung oil. We're just going to pour a little bit on and then smear it around with a brush. I think I forgot to mention in the intro, my main goal with finishing this is one, to protect the wood, but two, to keep it as light as possible. I want to keep the wood shop bright, and one way to do that without adding a whole bunch of extra wiring and lights is to keep your walls and ceiling as bright as possible. And so I want something that isn't going to darken over time, and I know that on the back of the can here, this tung oil says that it will not darken over time. Also, you notice many of the choices here are natural oils. And that's just because I want to keep the wood looking as natural as possible. So we'll let this set in here and then we'll wipe off all the excess. Yes, I am going to be cleaning off the brush in between each one. I've got a little jar of mineral spirits here we're going to be using. That way we're starting with a blank slate for every different type of finish we're going to be adding. Okay, while we're waiting for the tung oil to penetrate into this wood before we wipe it off, we're going to go ahead and move on to the boiled linseed oil. Same thing, just pour a little bit on here. I notice right off the bat this is much yellower than the tung oil. So the next two oils that we're going to try are not technically natural oils like the tung oil and the boiled linseed oil. These are a special combination of tung oil, boiled linseed oil, mineral spirits, and some type of varnish like a polyurethane. Just different ingredients and different quantities to make a different color. So we're going to try these out. That extra varnish in there will give it a little bit more protection, but it's going to add a film to the outside of it, whereas these natural oils just penetrate into the wood and protect from the inside. And that teak oil is definitely a lot thinner than the other two that we've tried so far. Which makes sense because, like I mentioned, it's been thinned down with the mineral spirits. That really brings out the color. However, it does darken it quite a bit. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I like the color, I just don't know if it's going to darken the shop a little bit too much. All right, next on the list is going to be the Danish oil. All right, and last but not least is going to be the oil-based polyurethane that is in a satin finish. Now, like I said before, all the other ones have some natural oil in them that will penetrate the wood. This doesn't penetrate the wood. This basically just creates a film coat on top. And I've heard, you know, could potentially be susceptible to chipping and need refinishing down the road. So I'm more or less doing this one for the test. I don't know as though, even if this one looks good, whether we're going to use it or not. All right, so it's the next day. I allowed 24 hours for all of these to set and cure. This one here is a sample of the unfinished, so you can see where we started and what we moved into with each of the different samples. I think the one we're going to go with is going to be the tung oil for a couple different reasons. Out of all these natural oils, it's the one that's supposed to protect the best. and the fact that it will not darken over time. So this is as dark as it's going to get. If I come over here to the wall and put it, I mean, it's very, very close to just the natural look of the wood, but it has that protection in it. So that's what we're gonna go with. Before we get started putting the tung oil on the walls, we are going to stain these posts a darker color. That's gonna be this red oak to give it a little bit more of an accent. And it's also gonna match the post on the porch of the new garage that we just added. All right, guys, there we go. We got all of our staining done. Really happy with how that varathane red oak wood stain came out on all of the posts and our mantle there above the wood stove and on the posts here. The tung oil came out a little bit more yellow than I would have liked, but I kind of like how it did darken it up just a bit and really brought some of that wood grain, the knots, and even some of that mineral staining and some of these pine boards really just brought it to life. It looks really cool, very rustic and warm in here. And you can kind of see the difference between what we've done here and up above the garage doors. I'll do all that by hand. It did go a lot quicker with the roller. I had my dad here giving me a hand today. He was rolling it. I was kind of touching it up a little bit with the brush, and then I was doing all the trim and around the windows and everything with the brush. And it went on a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. To roll the entire wall with the tung oil only took probably an hour total. I don't know if you guys noticed over here, but here's a little hint of what's next. We're gonna go ahead and start staining some cabinets that we bought, and we are gonna hang upper cabinets the whole way along this wall here just to give us some extra storage, some extra organization here in the shop. So right now, I think we're gonna go ahead and start pulling the doors off of these cabinets, getting the doors stained, and yeah, the whole inside of the cabinet and everything, and get those hung up before we wrap this video up. All right, guys, so that is going to bring this project to a close. I could not be more proud with how this turned out. A lot of these things, it was the first time I had ever done them. First time I'd ever milled shiplap siding myself. First time I had ever trimmed out a window. Huge thank you to neighbor Doug for coming over here and showing me the proper way to do that to make sure that all your joints are nice and tight and you don't have any big gaps. First time I'd ever hung cabinets. And I guess I'm just really proud of myself for not being intimidated by a lot of this stuff, getting to the finish line and having it turn out as good as it did. I know there's going to be people in the comments that are going to ask, where did we get the cabinets from? We got those from Home Depot. Those are just unfinished Home Depot cabinets. And I wanted, to continue with the wood look here. They were extremely cost effective and they matched the theme that we were going with in here. I know they don't match the shiplap siding perfectly, but it gives you 2 or 3 different shades of wood in here. We've got the posts there that are a dark brown, the shiplap siding that's kind of a yellow wood color, and then we've got the cabinets that are more of a reddish tint color to them. And then I really like how the red toolboxes look in here that complement the wood as well. It just really all came together really well. And not only that, but the cabinet pools. I absolutely love the black cabinet pools that we decided to go with. And kind of makes me question, are we building a workshop here or a man cave? I think it's a little bit of both. So I know people are going to ask, if we're building a woodworking shop in here, how come we didn't make the cabinets ourselves? Well, the answer is pretty simple: time. We spent a lot of time milling the lumber for the walls ourselves, and I really just wanted to get this project done. And like I said, the cabinets from Home Depot unfinished were very cost effective. I don't think I could have made them for as cheap as what I was able to buy them for. I think total I might have $600 or $700 in upper cabinets here, and I would have had weeks, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in making these cabinets myself. So in order to get this project done and allow us to start moving in and getting the wood shop ready to actually make things, it just made sense to go out and buy them. So yeah, this is the pretty side of the garage, and I've been purposely leaving this side of the garage out of frame because it's a disaster. But all that's left to do now is to start moving all of this stuff back over to this side in an organized fashion. And I'm going to see if we can't enlist the most organized man on the planet, neighbor Doug, to give us some good organization ideas to put everything back in a well thought out manner. Because if you don't have a home for everything, it'll look really nice at first, but after a few months and a couple of projects, if you don't designate a place for everything to get put back to, it's just going to end up looking like this again. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think of the garage, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.